And I'll post it to the group in the learning library, and now it'll be here. So the more I do these, the more we just create tutorials for the learning library too. So I don't like saying that. We get two things done at the same time, right? Because I've never killed a bird with a stone, and I don't want to, And I definitely don't want to kill two with the same one, I do this because I love you all, right? This is why I do it. I do it because I love you all. I could die tomorrow. We could all die tomorrow. There's no guarantees. Look at this slanted head and shoulder breaking out. 1, 2, right? And remember, the left side of the slanted head and shoulder is usually the divergence. Mind blown. Mind blown. Right? And remember, usually the ascending triangle, but that's slanted down. But if you were to, bring it up an angle, all right? Feed two birds with one worm. I love it. You just changed my life. That's my new thing. Pull that worm apart and just give both of them a piece. Poor little worm. Someone's got to die, I guess, in this world. Oh, man. All right. TradingView. Number one. Let's start here. You have all these little things here. All right. Welcome to the TradingView 101 course. I'm the cryptolifer Sam Price. Appreciate you for jumping on in. Okay. All right. Let's start with you do a bunch of drawings. You're not good. You make a mistake. You don't want them anymore. Hit the trash can. Remove 2 drawings. Don't remove the indicators. Just remove the drawings. First one. That's how you can reset anytime you want. Okay. First things first. All right. So you make a mistake. You want to delete it. Boom. Also, you draw a line. You draw another line. You just figment an idea, but you're like,
Lifer, all we can see is you, bro.
Oh, am I not? I'm not sharing my screen. No, anyway. Thank you, bro. So check it out, everyone. Thank you, DK. I run around all day today, guys, so I forget it. I forget the little things all the time, too. I need an assistant, like a personal assistant that's like life or no, life or yes, life or here, life or there, Because literally, I dedicated my mind to Bitcoin, and I'm being honest with everybody. So many people want to update. I want to do. I put myself in the positions. My life now. I'm not, but now it's like the demand for the information that I can create. So I'm like, dude. So I spend my whole I'm looking at Bitcoin when I wake up. I do my live stream, and I'm not saying my wife's like, hey, but I go upstairs. I have to put the tech away and hang out with the family. Go back. But the point of the story is, one day I was walking around in the supermarket, it was about 6 months ago. And I stopped for a second and I realized that I gave a piece of my brain away to Bitcoin. I was like, wow, because before I had any thoughts like air balloons, what was I going to do tomorrow? Who was going to bring me? Oh, what beer was I going to drink? What bar, the crap I was into back when I was in my late 20s and just floating around. And still had a job though. I always had a working job. I was never a bum. But in my mind, I wasn't becoming a multimillionaire. So that was upsetting to me. I had a regular life and I was like, not good enough. I always have to, why am I? And I would just watch people that were just getting out of the big cars and driving. I was just like, I was comparing, but I was also, it wasn't comparing. I was just like, wow, how come they get to do that? Or what did they do to get that? Or how do they do to get that? And I was just, man, I want to touch that life. I want to see what that is like. 2 of my friends, if you know me, sold their company for $225 million in front of me when they were 32. And maybe even younger, maybe 30. And I'm 39 now. So for the last 9 years, I've watched them just, and they were making money even before that. But and I'm talking helicopters to the Hamptons, you know what I mean? $5,000 a night hotels, $10,000 a night hotel, just things you dream about, man, 2 of my close friends, and they were both my friends and then met each other. And I was friends with them both. And then they started a company together, amazing. So that I was just sitting there in my late 20s watching them bubble. And I worked a night shift, would work 6 hours a night. And I took the night shift because I didn't want to work a lot. I wanted to do my own thing. And I dreamed, envisioned, and watched YouTube and lived in kind of a dream world and traded on and off as I began to learn. But it was it was a hobby at one point. Right. And that's kind of my story. And then I watched them blow up, man. And they went to work. And honestly, they went to work 7 a.m. every morning, or home at like 7 at night, like grinding. Eventually, you know, he would buy a beautiful apartment with like a 10-minute walk from the job. So like, you know, once you're a multimillionaire, you just set up your life exactly how you want it. Like, oh, I'm going to walk right here. They eventually had 150 employees. No lie. Like I walked in and they had desk after desk, and it was wall to wall windows. And you could see the Empire State Building and the entire East River at a beautiful building down near PJ Clark's in like the financial district in New York City, you know? And I was like, man, my two friends are seriously doing it, you know? And that was, I'll be honest, that was when like, I always was like, and I wanted to prove, it's like, I had this, like, I don't know what it is, but I wanted to prove to my two friends that like, I could become a millionaire. Like I could make it. And like, I would do something extraordinary like they did, you know? And it's cool now because they will call me like, damn, your channel, man. He's like, wow, you found your niche. And like, you know, it's like, I feel like just whatever. I wanted to be in the club, right? Whatever it was, right? And that may sound stupid to everybody, but you know, and I knew it was lucky too, because not everyone has friends that do what they did, you know? And we went to a humble college, like we went to St. John's University, like we weren't like Stanford grads. And my two buddies did things that like, and my other buddy was lower middle class from Ann Arbor. Our other friend was a little more well off. His dad knew about business, like he leaned on him, but he was still like, you know, a middle class kid. And to watch them like achieve that goal and hit dreams. I remember we had a New Year's Day party, and it's supposed to be TradingView, but this is just such a cool story. We had a New Year's Day party, and they hired Method Man and Mobb Deep for like just 20, like I think 50 to 60 of us. Like, of course, people brought friends, but it was like a really inner group of friends. And then whoever had friends was like, oh, you got to come to this. And it was in a tiny bar in Brooklyn. He must have spent 50 grand a pop to get, he gave them both 50 racks or something. And he overpaid because he liked them or something. Like, just like spent 100 grand that night. Didn't even care. You know what I mean? Like, whatever, like was so cool about it. Got so drunk. He left early. Like, it's so crazy, you know? I believe, yeah, it was just, crazy stuff. That's actually online. If everyone wants to show you the link, I'll send you the link of that night. Like the night that happened, because I recorded everything and edited everything because I had another YouTube channel at the time. So I recorded that whole night and I have it on YouTube to this day. Like, cause I was like, yo, Mobb Deep. And anyway, if that doesn't inspire you, you know, to just like you can too, and you'll find your way. And I don't know how you're going to exactly. Crypto could make you give you the money. Then you might meet someone else, right? And then you might have an amazing business idea and things collide. You know, you might be just become an amazing trader. You might just trade your way for 10 years now. Like, you know, for me, I love trading, but as much as I do, it's all encompassing. It takes all my time. Like I'd like to hit a plateau at one point and be able to like, just put one thing in, make a fund and just, you know, be able to step back, right? Like I don't want to do this for 30 to 40 years straight. Like this is hard work, but it's like digging for gold. Like I'll keep digging and digging till I get enough gold, you know, and then how many more bull runs can you get to till it's time to like, you know, 2040, 2050, you know, but maybe I'll trade to the day I'm I'll be 75 years old, day trading, right? Anyway, so just want to inspire you. Anything can happen to you in your life. My two friends didn't know that was going to happen to them when they went to St. John's. And my friend, the guy that did, he was my roommate my last year of college, and we would sit in a room together. And I swear on my life, we'd come in, he'd walk in, and he'd always get the Rob Report, if you know what it is. And I don't really read it much, but it's like a billionaire magazine that like just shows you the richest. It always gives you the report of like the 50 richest people in the world. And it's just all about high net worth individuals' lifestyle. And he was one of my only friends that bought it. You know, I didn't even know about it really. And he would bring it in and be like, yo, you need back, see that? Like, I'm gonna have that. And I would look at him like I didn't like doubt him, but I would sometimes just laugh, like, yeah, you will, man. Like, hell yeah. Like, but I was like, that's like, and he's like, see that Rolls Royces? He's like, see, I'm gonna fly the world, man. He's like, and he would turn page after page. And I'm telling you, like, he ended up like, they bought watches on the top of like the Empire State Building at Cartier, and we're getting, you know, it's just crazy stuff. But anyway, who cares, right? It wasn't my life, but it's also cool to see my friends, people that I knew grew up, like do something with their life. It was just, that's really what the story is about. Like, forget the money, like, it's cool. It's part of the description of it all, but they put something in their head and they got it done. Like they achieved the goal and they worked at it every day. It was not overnight. They grinded for years before they end up selling that company. And they worked for other companies and they worked hour after hour. I remember so many times I would see them getting out of work 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night, and they just didn't stop. Like they were just hustling in New York in the digital marketing industry. And, you know, they really taught me what it is to make it. Like, if you want to make it, like how hard you have to work. I mean, that's the crux of this story, how hard you have to work to make it. Nobody gets anything for free. You think millionaires out here, like my buddies, they both work so hard for, and still do to this day, you know, still to this day, hustling every day. So I guess that rubbed off on me. That was something I was like, okay, if you want to make it, you got to do it every day. It has to be something like, you got to forget this common everyday garbage. Like, oh, I'm going to do it here a little bit and take the weekends off. Like, you know, you can take a little time here and there. You can watch a game or two, you know, but for the most part, you want to be on and into your craft, right? And to do that, you want to be on tradingview.com. And here we go, as I segue perfectly into TradingView. So check it out. We're here on TradingView, and we have all these different tools, tips, and tricks. Now, I'm not going to say I know it all, because it's actually magnanimous, which is a good word for this. And there's so much going on. Okay. If you want to just, number one, my indicators, what indicators am I using? Right. Which I teach in the beginner's course, but I don't, you know, first thing is the 5MA, right? But when I put on the 5MA, I have it as the 21, the 50, the 80, the 100, and the 200. And I have it colored white, red, purple, blue, and yellow. Okay. You can add this by your easily. Like my buddy made this indicator too, my mentor, CBC 5MA DRS. And it's the same thing. It's 5 moving averages. It's exactly the same thing. Okay. But you can just make it yourself if you want, or that just, and it gives you the same colors. These colors are a little more vibrant and bright because I like vibrant and bright colors. So I've adjusted it. You can adjust anything you want. So first thing we're going to talk about is settings. So first we'll just go and we'll make a blank screen too, right? Like we'll take out all the indicators. I'm not going to explain the indicators like in the tutoring session. All right. This assumes that you already know a lot of the stuff, or maybe this is just TradingView at this moment. Okay. So like I'll take away all the indicators. They're gone now. All right. Usually on the screen, all you get is price action and volume. All right. I can't remember if volume is there or not. I'm pretty sure it is though. But if it's not, you can always add volume too. You can just type in volume, and there's different types of volume. Now you can hit this and add a volume if you want. You know, I have volume here, as you can see, right? But you can add it if you want. You can change the colors of anything, any indicator. Okay. So see how the indicator is here and it's here. So usually you can click on an indicator, right click, hit the settings, and you can change the settings of the indicator volume. You can access this exact same menu by hovering over here and hitting the gear. So, and that goes for almost any indicator. It does go for every indicator. You can either right click the indicator till you see blue dots pop up. I mean, click on it, see blue dots, then right click and hit the settings. Like here, watch, we'll do it again. You click on it, hit the settings. Okay. And boom. Volume. Okay. Visibility, inputs. You can change it. I'm not changing any of that stuff. Growing, or, you know, you can change these colors if you want it more vibrant, you know, like I kind of do like it a little brighter, right? And you can change the opacity so it's a little thicker. Thickness. Inputs, you would change the moving average length. We're not going to do that. And I don't even really use the moving average, but it's there. So that's volume, right? Then I add CBC 5MA or just the 5MA. Either way, if you program it yourself or it's here. This gives you the 21, the 50, the 80, the 100, and the 200-day moving average. It's basically an SMA band, okay? Just like an EMA ribbon. It's an SMA band. Then the next indicator I add is the MACD, moving average convergence divergence, okay? As the moving averages converge and diverge, so does the MACD. Next thing I'm adding is the RSI, and I don't do anything to them. Only on the RSI. Oops, sorry. And most indicators are variations or tokens of these or something of that, right? On the RSI, You add the relative strength index just by itself, nothing else. Only thing I do, and I've done this a long time ago, but I went to style. I remove the moving average. I make it like a nice red and make it a little thick like this. I've also added a gradient to my chart on the background. If you just right click the background here and hit settings, that's this. And see, I've added a gradient. You could change it to a gray. All right, I can darken it down. I like to see my lines though, you know what I mean, that are needed. So that's this is what I'm doing here. And the gradient kind of creates that nice effect. Okay. That's why my charts just kind of have that little style to them. And you can make it yellow, green, blue. Like, you know, I've thought about other variations, but as a teacher, like, I think I need to have my things just readable. So like, as much as I want to go out there, like, this is kind of cool. Like, you know, maybe I start charting like this, right? You can do whatever you want, and it'll stay there till you change the settings again. You know, maybe I come out in 2023 with the new, right? The thing is, the candles don't look as vibrant to me. They're a little flat for whatever I'm like slightly colorblind. So that's the only thing. But you can do so much. Okay. You can do so much. All right. So, and I just want to see key thing too is to see where these dotted lines end. If like, you know, I want to make sure I'm able to see everything correctly. Wouldn't even mind if this was dark, a little darker too. So it's like, so I think I'm like a little high now higher than I was on the spectrum. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So that's kind of takes care of that. Yeah. You can change candle colors. You can write price action. You can make them more vibrant, bigger, better. Same idea, right? Appearance. Was it crosshairs, text? Color bars based on previous close. Interesting. Last, borders, body. And pretty vibrant. Then you have MACD, RSI. Then I add the stochastic, or I add RSI, but I add the one with divergences by neobutane. Just adds like a little flare and gives you some divergences along the way. And then, of course, our beautiful VIVP, the visible range volume profile. However, when it comes up, click on it here, right click on it, settings, inputs, and just add a 0 right to 224. Hit OK. And once that's all done, that's kind of what I do. All right. Everything I kind of can figure out from here. Now, like all my calls come from this. Like, I don't really need anything else. I really don't. I honestly have tried other indicators and use them, and they just kind of, to me, they get in the way of my vision. Like, I see it now. I don't, but anyone can use anything they need if they use it long enough. That's just how I look at it. You know what I mean? So basically how I look at it. All right. So that's all the indicators that I had, but it was more, and I wanted to talk. So here, you want to make the shape like I made. Alt T, right? So I'm like, you can go here and do it, but like takes so much time, you know? You can hit control and grab another one right from another one. That's pretty quick too. So you hold control down and you can just grab. If you keep them both highlighted, you'll get both, see? And Control Z just to clean it up. Say you have a nice drawing idea, but it's like on the 1 hour. And then when you go to like the daily, it just doesn't look good. And you want to like do another idea. So you go to the 4 hour or the 1 hour time frame, you draw your idea. And then what you can do is you go here to see these, like how it looks like a bunch of papers on each other on the back here, on the bottom right, and you click on that. And you highlight all the things you've done. Don't highlight the actual indicators. I don't think you can anyway. Yeah, but you highlight the things you've done. You right click and you say create a group of drawings. And then you can label the group like 1 hour idea, right? And boom. And then what you can do is you can just X out, right? And that's just there. And then when you go and make your idea on like the daily time frame, it makes sense. Okay. And look, the tightness of the daily, what do? We boomed up to what? The 200 SMA. Let this be a lesson to us all. Like this happens more than it doesn't. And we saw this happen on how many coins. Look, it also had that inverted head and shoulder. So like that's confluence, an idea that you've seen before inside a right shoulder. There's a gain right there, and up to the point of control, right after the value area low, because like really no one really wants to mess with it down here. There's just nothing left. Could actually begin Ape's little move if it can get above this 200 SMA and stay above it. That's a very bullish sign. That's like we want Bitcoin to do that, but like it's going to take a lot more money and a little more time. Okay, but that's a key idea there. Yeah, the price on the 200. Isn't it amazing? It's just amazing. Okay. Hold on 1 second. Okay. So look, so the first thing I'm always doing, right, is making a trend line. Right. And so to make a trend line is just Alt T or Option T and point and click, right? And measured move or whatever you want to do, right? You can make 3-dimensional shapes if that, suits your fancy, whatever you want to do. Anyway, so yeah. Oh, this is awesome. Okay, at 524, I just saw something. Excellent. Okay, so now so in here, I don't really use a lot of things in here. You have an arrow, you have a ray, extended line, trend angles, horizontal line, horizontal ray. The ray is kind of cool. I guess you just point here and it goes right to where you want. But that's really just Alt J. Like I use Alt J for that. And it's the same thing. I guess it is. That's what it is. Alt J. So the Alt J is how I do that. Okay. So I use the main things, but it's all like in my, it's all key, it's all shortcuts. So, and I believe we have the shortcuts in the learning library, but I could be wrong, but I know that they've been written down in a screen share and then been shared. You guys are funny. So Alt T to make trend lines. Okay. Control Z to erase it. Things that you've already done, you don't want to see anymore. Alt H to make a giant horizontal line, like you want to look at Bitcoin or something in the big time frame. Alt H. Alt H. Okay. Resistance, resistance. So that's just something. And then Alt J just stops it where you are. So it's like Alt J, you know, you could Alt J. You know, it's just wherever your mouse is, it's going to take it to. I think it's cleaner and nicer. It has kind of a little of a flair to it. Like lately, I like doing, you know, like I'm like, oh, well, I see that we have the resistance, right? Because you can see like that's right where it is. And it kind of points out areas even better, you know. So I like it. Makes me look at the area. And it also puts a label here on the right side so you can see exactly what number you're at that you put that at. And it will change, of course, if you move it up or down. I find it really efficient, works great. If you want to label price action, which I used to do a lot more of, I hit price note, right? And just hit it here. And that'll stay on your price action. You can be like measured move to 786. I also colored this my own colors. Like it doesn't look like that regularly, but I made it, you know, you can make anything look how you want in this thing. All right. And there's price note, there's price label. Price label is just smaller. See, a little more boring. Price note's just a little funner. All right, what else do I use here? Love the brush. I'm always drawing. Can we bounce? Measured move to here, you know, looking for Bitcoin to get above the zone, looking that this is the point of control, Can we get the bounce, right? Like, so I just like drawing a lot with the paintbrush all the time. Highlighter is cool, just big and thick, double bottom to the, you know, it just kind of lets you accentuate things. Sure, you know, was that a, you know, boom. It just lets you kind of figure things out a little bit. It's the highlighter. You could change it, make it less thick, bigger, or smaller. I just use it for basic ideas, you know, do we break on out? Stuff like that. You got the rectangle. Rectangle is cool when I'm showing an area like possible buy zone in the right shoulder, you know, for a measured move of the inverted to the upside, right? It's like buy zone, boom, to the 200 SMA. Stuff like that, right? It works like that. I also made this different colors. A lot of times you see me use this for when I call it like big boy support, big boy, big girl, whatever, you know, but big, you know, the support we really have to pay attention to. Like we got to get above, like right now, that's big boy support, right? We got resistance, chunk, resistance, resistance, resistance. You know, can we break up, bounce, and get up into the next area of resistance and then move? We're above a high volume node suggests that you can roll all the way to this area, possibly all the way to 783. So anyway, not really doing TA, but I just wanted to talk about what all the things I use. So that's the rectangle. Don't really use the circle much. I use the this ellipse sometimes, like when I'm like looking at this area, you know, and I'll be like, I want to buy into this zone, just like the square or something, or sometimes like golden cross inside that circle, like, or can we get to the 200 right there? And then I might actually use this with a call out. The call out's cool. It just like points at it. And I'll be like, can price get to the 200 SMA? Like, are we pushing up? You know, I'm always using these ideas to try to teach you. Like, I'm going to add little words and you can kind of get what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to lead you to the sauce. Right. So it all starts to make sense. And with these without those little details and not saying anything, like it happens and no one really understands. But I'm almost like, and then you start, oh yeah, he did say that. Oh yeah, he did. And then 5, 6, 7. And the next thing you know, you're wake up at night and it's what your mind's been talking about to yourself and your subconscious and you're building. And so like 2 to 3 weeks later, you're like, and so a year from now, you're that's strong data that you can build on, like, cause you have it now. It's built in you. Like you've built it up. Like it's come from the core of you, then regurgitated back in a cycle and then spit back to you and learning throughout your own self. So it becomes you, like, and you're back. So a year from now, you're going to see like a coin dump or something that's new after people sold it off. And then you're going to see them get tight and you're like, oh man, I'm going to trade that right up to that 200 SMA, you know. It's not going to happen every single time, but it's pretty, lately it seems to have like, it looks pretty like 90% accurate on if you get there eventually from, if you have the guts to buy on the low, right? All right. Now, what else do I use here? The path is cool. I use the path when I have like a complex inverted, when I want to like show way more, you know, it might have like multiple shoulders. We also use the complex when I'm finding diamonds, you know, attempting to draw a diamond and show what a diamond is. There's really no diamonds here I can find. Diamonds are rare. We get them like once 1 month, maybe sometimes less, or like a few here and there, and then you don't see it again. We saw a few in Bitcoin every once in a while recently, like what, 2 months ago, when Bitcoin had trouble in certain areas, we saw some diamonds like up in here, maybe in there, but let's like zoom in. But the diamond is based. Let's see if I can find a diamond for us. Somewhere here on like the 4-hour time frame, there was a bunch of diamonds. This is the diamond pattern. This is a perfect diamond. When you see a diamond, what you'll see like an up and down, and it could be left or right or left. It doesn't really matter. What I mean, like the top could come down and then come back up. Well, this bottom came down and the top went up, right? But the idea is that you have this, you go and you get your diamond, you get your path, bang, to boom, right? To boom. And basically what it says, it double click to get out of the path. And what it basically says, the diamond pattern says is, you know, if you broke down into the pattern, you'll break out of the pattern it's a reversal pattern, right? And that's a spot on diamond right there. And you can see how it reacted right to the upside. Okay. And they're rare. You don't see them a lot. You know, usually you get your rising wedge, falling wedge. You know, this attempted a diamond more. This is called the whipsaw, up, down. This is a whipsaw too, you know, and the diamond really is basically a combination of the whipsaw. The whipsaw is just the up and down price action, right? That's why we call it a whipsaw, all right? That's how we make the diamond. All right, now moving forward, I don't really, the curve is how I make the semi cup and handy, and the fast way to do it. Like I'm like the gunner with it, and I wasn't always so fast, but I have to be on the live, right? And I learned, like, because I used to be like, this is me first, right? And I'm like, oh no, I got to adjust. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, all right. And I was home. And but like then I became a showman, and I'm on the live stream like every day. And I'm like, and I became Sammy Cup and Handy. So I was like, boom to boom, pull out the bottom, make it nice and tight, tweak it a little bit, and you're done and you're in and out. Like, but again, that took some time, right? Again, most people might do that right off the bat, but it takes me a while. And look, there's your cup and handle, kind of broke out, eventually did it, make a way. But so that's how I use these. Coolest thing about these is depending on which way you push them is how you can use them. And you'd be like, what is he talking about? Well, rounded tops and rounded bottoms, right? So here you grab the curve and you want to make, right, boom. And you're like, well, how do I flip it? You know, you could do this, which is easy, right? But there's another way, which is kind of cool. It automatically goes top when left to right. It automatically goes bottom from left to right. So if you bottom here, left to right, it makes this shape. All right. But if you come up here and you go the other way, it makes the top shape. You get it? And so that's how just a funny little trick to this little thing. All right. That nobody knows. No, but yeah, most people know, but funny, I never told anybody all these things. These are like my deep, dark little tricks. Here's another thing. This is like the pyramid. When I use this sometimes, like for an identify a buy zone or an area at the end of a triangle or something that I'm looking at might break out, and I'm like, this is, I'm looking to buy in the zone. I'll accentuate that area with the triangle. Rotating triangle is cool when I'm like talking about a buy zone, and like I would like to stay, like I want to buy at the bottom of this trend, or even this one, and you can swing it the way you rotate it, right? But the other one is stuck to its angle, but this one you can like swing around, and I can be like, I want to buy in this zone, I want to buy when we get, or you put it here and you're like, all right, or I could put it around divergence, what I mean? You can just use it in some fun and different ways. There's like diagonal resistance up here, whatever you want, you can be whatever you want to do, but like, it's just the way to do it slanted. All right. The rotated rectangle. The arc I don't use. Don't really, okay, that's it. Some people use it for the cup and handle. Some people don't. Like I just use the arc, but you could use it for the cup and handle, as you can see. Just, it's more, maybe a little more precise. You can change the colors and the transparency and all that. And the S curve, I mean, I don't really use the S curve. It is the S, see it? It's like, and you can flip it up or down. But it mainly is like, so I don't use it. It's like, and then we go through these things. Text is how you write, support. I made it bright yellow for people to see. You can change the background colors, right? Do whatever you want. Text wrap. Oh, that's interesting. Text border background. If you want to just kind of make it pop. All right. You can then do this and hit save as. Like, so you could hit the background, hit template, hit save as, and call it like background. And now you just won't have to do that every time. Like, you just have to click background and it'll look like that, you know. And you could take it off, right? And then if you hit background, it'll look like that. Okay. So this way, and you can create little settings for yourself. You can program things to say stuff if you want. It's pretty nifty. So that's text. And then anchored text, I guess to me, I like to move my text around, so I don't really use that. Note, anchored, no, I don't use that. Tweet, you could tweet it, I guess, or I guess, oh, you can put when a tweet happened and write it there. Like Elon, right? Something like that. Or did that just tweet to my account? I don't know. Maybe I did. Maybe that just actually tweeted. Let me see. Is that what just happened? 10,000 followers tonight. Awesome. Thank you. Cool coin, man. Oh, 73. We're going to look at that tomorrow. I want to see what people said about that. No, I didn't tweet. So I don't know what that button does. Seem to send. Other people have told me it's like when a tweet is there or something. I don't know. Interesting. Idea, you can write an idea. Image, you can put an image there, I guess. And you can place it on the chart, which I've never done. I don't really have the time for that, right? I don't know if it's like worth it. Price label, as I showed you, call out. I use comment, price, note, and then arrows if you want to point arrows and a flag mark, right? If you want to like just kind of mark where something happened or talk about an area, a little flag. Really see the need for it, but you might. Because that's that section. This is where I do all the inverted head and shoulder. I'm not an Elliott wave trader, so I don't use any of this. As you can see, I've never used any of it on my live, and I've been pretty fine without it. But again, doesn't mean you people that don't use it can't use it. I'm not into it. I use the head and shoulder pattern. As you can see, the only start thing that I need here. You click on it, and you're able to draw the shoulder. Oh, there's one right there. I didn't even know. Oh, kind of like, not the best, but you get the gist. And I'll label them both. Also, this wasn't this color. I just wanted it to be like a little more apparent. Could even make them a little bigger to read. Yellow with the black, going for the Bruins. You know, just keeping it real with my city. So there you go. Little subtle things I did just to say hi to Boston. No, but yeah. So that's that idea. Head and shoulders pattern. Here is the fibs, right? Long position, short position. Like whenever I'm going to get into a trade, I want to put where I'm going to get in. I like to put my stop loss, and I like to put where I'm going to get out. And yes, it's fine. And that gives me a risk to reward ratio. I'm so blessed. Thank you. Risk to reward ratio, right? And I want the risk reward ratio to be a 3 or better. So like a 3 or better. If I have to put my stop loss up here where it's just, you know, and I don't go, a 4 and a 5 are great, but a 3 or better. If I have to start going down too low, like sometimes you don't see a lot of support. So your stop loss has to make this number below 3. To me, it just becomes high risk. Now, it doesn't mean you can't take the trade, but you just have to know. And I just have some rules that I don't take. I only take the trade that fits into my parameter. And this is how I do it. And I have my risk to reward ratio. I explained this all in the learning in the class, because in the class I have to like go in depth. I show the chart, like and it takes a lot out of me. I have to like start from start to finish, kind of the whole, you know, it's more than just me sitting and like spewing out some information. I really like conceptualize how I'm teaching it in a way where like I take your mind on a journey. And I think that's the point of the whole class, right? Questions mostly asked how to draw the fibs, measured move, how to add and remove the indicators, right? Yeah, so thank you. Appreciate that, Laura. Thank you, Sam, for everything you do. No, thank you for coming in. Tomorrow, lots of up and down. Yeah, CPI data tomorrow. It's not a Fed meeting, it's CPI data. Yeah, I don't think there's any Fed meeting tomorrow, but there's CPI data tomorrow coming out at 8:30 in the morning. I don't believe there's a Fed meeting, but I could be wrong. I don't believe so, though. So yeah. Okay. Where were we? So yeah. So long positions, you can do the same if you want to short something. I want to enter here. I want to stop loss here. And I want to ride the short down to this area. And the same rules apply with 3-to-1 risk reward ratio and so forth. Right? That's pretty self-explanatory. Like say you want to short here, get in here and take it to the downside. Okay. So that's the long and the short tool. I find them very great. I don't use the forecast. I don't know what that's all about. The date range just can give you an area to an area and show you the, how many bars, 15 days, 18 hours. One thing I use a lot is the price range, right? Boom. I don't want to use these because what I do these, everyone will put their stop loss in the exact same place. And what happens is it creates what I call a pileup. So whenever I just say stop loss is below here, then everyone, whoever feels it fits their trading style, their stop loss, someone's here, someone's there, you know what I mean? And but like everyone follows the guy because I'm new, like I follow the boss. Like when I do, so I used to love posting this, and sometimes I might here and there, but for the most part, I've switched it to this, even though I'm looking at this personally, which is, I don't, but the point is because too many people go in the exact same area, and that creates a magnet for liquidity. And we don't want that. We want to be sprinkled around. Okay. I hope that makes sense, even though it's like a bit odd. But now I use trend-based fib extension a few times, but to me, it like honestly, I just use, and the reason why is because my measured moves always seem to work pretty nice, right? So like a trend-based fib extension is something like this here. You go to trend base, you have to have 1, 2, 3 points, right? And then you're going to drag it on out. And this could tell you where you're potentially going to go and take profits. I mean, that worked pretty good. Take your profits at the 618 and the 26, could be an extended area. But I just find like measured moves work just as good. Like, like I remember like this move here on the 4-hour. You get a bit of a flag. It actually had a really long flag, which I guess people call Elliott wave, but like I just did what I do, and like that eventually did hit this target up here, right, to the upside, which is pretty crazy over time. And these ones were all pretty spot on. And I find like I put this to the test over and over again. Like here you have your flag and you'd be like, all right, so the measurement has to be this whole pole. And you're like, you're kind of mad, but like that's exactly what happened. Like, but a trend-based fib may have gotten you there. I just I don't, it's funny is like I saw what everyone else does, like a lot of other, and I was like, why would I, like I'm just gonna do me. Like that's pretty spot on though. Look, it takes you right to that area, some good profit taking areas. It was, I don't know, it's just yeah. And maybe if I used it more, I would love it. I just never got in the habit of using it because my measured moves hit. And my trading style kind of like, I guess I'm either believing in something for the long term and buying little by little, or I'm taking like pretty decent swing trades that I'm in control of by the measure move and support and resistance, And remember that a lot of fibs are just support and resistance. I want to make this clear. Like when I started getting deep into Fibonacci, like here, you want to pull like a fib here, you can pull from like, these areas here. You see, we came to the 706. That's just from this impulse. You can ring the whole thing and see where we're at now, but like, still, that's the golden pocket right there that we came into from the initial pump to the down, right? And this works better. This is just how I work. Like I work on the fallen wedge, the bullish divergence. You know what I mean? I grew up in bull market. So of course, like, but I flip bear. I've been through enough bear markets now to trade bearishly a lot, right? So you have to kind of live through markets to do what you do. And that's kind of what it is for me, right? And so that's just kind of how it all works, so 618 bounce, you know what I mean? And what's crazy is it's like falling wedge. And I had this like measured move, which is the length of the base of the triangle. And like, I'm just uncannily accurate with my measured moves. Not many people are as like I got, and I'm not trying to be rude. I'm being honest, and like, here's another one. And like, I would have been really precise with this line. And I went from wick to wick. And I studied this stuff and I stayed on myself about it, right? And that's like pretty spot on. So other people have to use fibs to do this, but I can do it visually, like just mapping out and maybe because I didn't use fib trend extension, this is my skill. But if I'd use fib trend base, I wouldn't have this skill, right? I would be relying on the fibs. And again, like, see how this fib is here? That's also a support so like what I do sometimes is like, you can put the fib out, right? And then you can even, I can like delete it, right? Like we can delete it and you can just be like, well, here's support and resistance, like here, 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 here. And you map some areas. And like, if you draw a fib, which crazy is like, you'll see like, I'd say 75, almost more like 80% of the levels will line up. Like, see, there's spot on. That's like the top, like that's right on with this level. You actually could have put one right in here at this area, resistance. Here's another area that's this exact same area as the 618. It just, this one's a little floaty, but even if you went in on a local area, you can see that we bounced twice here. Once, fell through, but once, twice, three, almost there. So like, I swear, like if you're just really good at support and resistance, like you're actually doing Fibonacci, and I figured this out after like 4 years of doing support and then like 3 years of doing fib and then boom. And then one day I was just like, oh my God, like, and the reason, and I'll tell you why. And I know why. It's kind of crazy. Like I know analytically why, like, and I crunch these explanations because trying to explain things that my brain computes these like quick answers. And I try to like understand and I get what it says, but it's like such a download for me that like I have a hard time explaining it. And I'm like, how do I? But the point I'm going to make is this, and I hope you bear with me, is so people were back here and when this price got up, it got rejected. So they drew support and resistance, right? But someone probably drew a fib extension and that was probably like a high 6182, 6183. And they took it to, and they didn't see, and so on and so forth. And so what happened over time was like, as these began to get built, like they built them with, it's like the chicken or the egg, like were they building them with fibs or were they building them with support and resistance? And like over time, they overlap so much that like years later we'll bleed through, whatever we come to the areas and as we get through above here, and you would draw extensions and you would see like a fib extension will hit to here. And that will be like a measured move here that'll hit. And it'll also coincide with the exact resistance when you look left, with like an area of support. Like you just, and it all is math because you can't move through our space and time without moving in the mathematical movements. Like, it's really weird. And that's why like I call it like the bone idea. Like that's why this is the same length as that, which is usually the length of that. See that? Which is the length of this. Because these are all fib extensions moving together through algorithmic bots and like the same, and like you'll find like this is the same length of this and this. And this actually kind of was the length of this drop here, pretty close. And so I kept finding out like that, like they reuse the same movement. Like it's just pretty crazy anyway. And it's because we live in a mathematical structure and the fibs control where the price goes. And and again, I could go down these rabbit holes, but that's like, as much as a lot of people don't understand when I go down really, really, that's the basis of my trading. It's like this, it's like, and I'm going to find a way to eventually explain it all, but it's still, a lot of it is caught up in here. And I don't fully know exactly what I'm doing. Like I do like, but there's some split second decisions that are going on up there when I see a trader do something. And when I finally make a buy that like, I'm trying to learn how to convey, I'm attempting, I shouldn't say I will learn how to convey over time. Right. So this is, that's why, so I'm all about the fib retracement, right? That's Alt F, right? And you start at impulse, like you would find out where you impulse, like here, and you'd hit Alt F and you draw it to the top, like where you came, and you'd see where you retrace to. Okay. You see me use it all the time with altcoins. Like I'll see, like right now we're looking at CAS off the top of my head. See, I have a photographic memory of CAS. It's up, it's in a falling wedge. We have pulled the fib on it. It's coming to the 618. Like, and I don't know when I last looked at it, but I know exactly how it looks. See? So like, I remember these things. Like it's kind of a pain in the pain, like to remember everything, but like, I know, like, so like I can see everything that I've seen before in my head again, So look, like maybe everyone can too. I don't know. Like, I don't know what it's like. So like that's coming into the golden pocket, you know, it's starting to round off. Like it's showing signs of, so, you know, that's a healthy, I call a healthy retracement after a nice pump to the upside. So you never want to keep buying. Like even if you miss this and you see pump, 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 at one point it'll dry off, pull out your fib. And see, the problem is that the beginner is here and price keeps going up and the envy and the pain, and they get back in here, comes up, and then they lose half the bag on this dump. Happened to me a lot as I began trading, happens to a lot of, thank you, a lot of beginning traders. Okay, thank you. And so that's like, you know, something that occurs there too. So Fibonacci Alt F, nice little trick, right? Remember Alt H is the giant across. Alt J is just if you want to make the point right to where you're at. Alt T is if you want to make a trend line, measured move. Like I showed you before, you can right click, which is cool. Like you can like this looks like it has a big leg. Like, you know, like you might make a fib retracement here on this to see where it goes, right? But this looks like it has a big leg. I take the price action, like where is that going? Okay, and you can see, and that's a measured move, right? And you can even right click it, settings. And what I've done is I gone into the template and I've added things so you can add measured move. Put them on the bottom, put it on the top, like it looks cool there, right? Measured move. It's kind of fun. I don't do it all the time. I should do it more often. It looks pretty pro. So these are just cool ways to look at things, right? Falling volume with falling price. When volume is falling to the downside and price is falling to the downside, likely reversal. There's other things about this, but right now, don't get confused. Just falling volume, falling price. That tells you that you're losing the sellers. You want to see this behavior. This entices me into the buy because it's telling me that something is brewing, right? I also want to see the oversold stochastics on the biggest time frame possible, and I want to see the moving averages beginning to get tight. To me, they're a little too still far apart. All right, things that I'm looking at. So that's like, those are key things. Now, here we did price action. Bars pattern is if I want to make a fractal and move it to something else, but like you don't really need that. And I do it sometimes. It's more creatively than anything else. Ghost feed is you want to make candles to think about how it would look. But I don't think it works too well. It's kind of a pain, and it doesn't really look that great. And so and it's hard to get out of it. And I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. It doesn't work too well, but you know. And there's the projection if you want to do like these GAN fans and or you know things like this area, or you know, if you get into stuff of that nature. And then the fixed range volume profile too, right? Like so. This is the same as this, but it doesn't change when you move your candles around. All right. That's the same as the VRVP. It's just a nice, quick little version of it. Usually matches the areas pretty well too. So you can see your areas. You'll get to know the VRVP. I'm not going to sit here and explain it tonight. I'm sorry. Heart, I guess if you want a heart, these are all different things you can put, thumbs up, thumbs down. You know, sometimes I use one of these or a pointer or something like that occasionally. But for the most part, it's really just like, it's very rare. I get down, you know, the ruler's cool. You grab it from here to here. It just shows you exactly, you know, 230 bars, 390 days till you get there. I believe you can just hit Alt and hit, is it Alt or Control? Yeah, Control and hit in this. Control and hit that. No, nothing. What is it? Shift and hit it. Shift and hit. Yeah. So you hit Shift and this will just automatically come up. So you hit Shift and click, and then you can drag, and it'll just show you how much, like, oh, you know, like how many bars was that? So Shift, point, pull it out, and it'll give you this ruler. Okay. The magnet is you want to like magnetize things to like exactly where they're at. Like it'll stick to spots. Like see how they're stuck to it. And, you know, I don't use it. It can get you, you know, I don't think it's needed. It'll also keep things like from being able, you won't be able to like move certain things or something. I don't use it enough to really even know. And I don't use it enough. So, and that's it. And then again, you could trash it all when you're done. Right. And, that's it. My wife is about to whoop my butt. Now you right click this and you hit countdown to bar close. It's the last thing I'll show you. And that just tells you when every bar will close. All right. There's more. You can create lists. Like we'll go, I guess, even deeper. Once you've added all these, you go up here and you hit save template indicator, call it like lifer indicator, your indicator, whatever you want. And then you hit save. And look, I have all these templates that I've created in the past. Okay. Pretty cool.
All right. Dinner can't wait, Sammy.
All right. All right, everyone. Without further ado, I got to end the stream. This will get made into a thing and I'll upload it. But yeah, appreciate everyone here. And that was kind of an in-depth idea into how to use TradingView and like kind of the things that I use. All right. Goodbye. I'm going to get my vote.